Good evening, everybody. How is everyone's Tuesday evening going? Mine is fantastic. I am finally well rested after the weekend's festivities on Comic Art Fans. So let me bring in my two co-hosts this evening. We're waiting for Mr. Will Gabriel to arrive. But
good morning,
hey
Vietnam.
Oh, and speak of the devil, I say his name and he appears.
There he
is. He made it. I had to, I was running a little behind. I had FedEx delivery and I had to meet with Barucci. And then I had to, because it's, May 25th, it's a special date, Star Wars. I had to put on my silk Sith pajamas.
I thought it was
May the 4th was Star
Wars. May 4th. I never heard of May 25th.
But May the 25th is the original release date, 1977.
That is true.
Oh my God. You are such a nerd.
Totally.
It's okay. One of us
I'll take it as a huge compliment.
Oh man.
So I don't know about you guys, but I have like a huge hangover from that Comic Art Live thing that was on. I don't know if you guys caught that this weekend.
I'm glad you didn't say a huge something else because I was getting worried.
That's what I thought he was going to say.
You guys, and no, I mean, you gotta in order to really work the Comic Art Live thing, you gotta figure out all the different ways of all the different ways of searching. My hands are exhausted.
Well, those first 60, 80 minutes are a little exhausting of Saturday, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you've got the different price variations. You got to throw in your different Ramita, Buscema,
Ramita, your Buscema, your Kirby.
By the time I did all that, I was too tired to buy.
I was just gonna say, I hope you guys bought something while you
did. I bought a few things. I did.
I actually did not, but I had all kinds of deals lined up beforehand. So
I understand. Well, that's how it goes. I mean, that's part of the show. I'm learning everybody's kind of strategies and different approaches to the days leading up to the show and the different sales they'll have in their classifieds at the same time. Those sorts of things. So
I was hoping to buy something, Bill. I really was. There was nothing that was must have for me. So
I used to search everything from high to low first, but now I find that I search from low to high first. But it's exhausting because there's so many things I want to buy for $2 and $3 that I'm out of money by the time I get it to $5,000.
Yes, yeah, Mike, you got to learn how to use the site search. Yes, you can search by price range, by order it by high to low, low to high. So yeah, I mean, there's a few more things we can add in there, but
you can search by Betty Boop.
You got options, Berkey. There's all kinds of options.
All right.
Next November. But I can guarantee that we did definitely break $1 million in sales. I haven't got the final figure, but I sent out an email to all the exhibitors who just to get some final stats for people who forgot to mark final things as sold or zeroed out their prices on things that they had sold.
What are you going to do with all that money, Bill?
Well, my take is a big fat zero of that. Just think about it. If I was Heritage, I would have just made $400,000 for that weekend.
Exactly.
My kids' college would be paid for.
1%, Bill. Just take
it's time to start taking a percentage.
1% would at least cover at least dormitory stuff for my kids for a year in school or something.
My suggestion is you take 2% and you give me 0.5% for giving you the idea.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that would be is that then nobody would mark anything sold during the show, and then we'd never know what's selling. So it's a problem, but it's not a problem for me. Premium membership.
It's all about your statistics being reliable. If the statistics aren't reliable, it's not about your compensation. I get it.
Exactly. I'd rather have more premium members. So we did really good. This is actually the largest number of premium members I've ever had in 1 month. Was this one. Prior to that, it was the first show we did in May. So that's a very positive, to me, that's was really the goal. So if
at least make them pay the full $75. Stop giving them that trial crap. That's just so cheap of them. Come on.
I know. Well, I can tell you most people did upgrade to the full from being trial earlier. We had last May, we had about 120 people do the $35 one. This time we only had about 40. So the number's going down, and more people are, I think, going the full premium. So, I know it's working though.
And you know what? These are probably some people. Probably half of them go to Starbucks for that $7, $8 cup of coffee every day.
I know. Maybe they'll buy me one sometime. All right. Well, hey, I don't want to keep Stu waiting, but I'm glad everybody had a good show. That's the thing. And I will be putting together a rather lengthy report that I'll put out on Thursday that will just kind of detail the overall site traffic, the site sales, the things that were most popular as far as the searches, which artworks were most popular that sold or didn't sell. And I just want to give everybody a lot of statistics to kind of mull over, which I think will give everybody, at least some ideas on what to do next November when we have the show again. So I've learned a lot, and I think just looking at the data, I think we can all learn a lot from it. So, look forward to that. That'll be out on Thursday.
Okay.
Very cool.
All right. So without waiting any longer, let's bring in Disco Stu.
Night fever, night fever.
Ooh.
You know how to do it. Woo.
I've been enjoying things back in the green room, Bill. So you put out a good spread. The green M&Ms were a nice touch.
Hey, thank you. I nothing but the best for anybody here who's willing to go on, get some FaceTime with us. So
now, Stu, I gotta say, I might have seen you years ago at Xenon's, but you definitely were not at Studio 54. So I'm not sure about this whole Disco Stu thing.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
That was actually the biggest question on my mind. I was going to say, I know Brunswick used to hang out at Studio 54, but what is, where's your moniker coming from, Stu?
It came from The Simpsons. When the first episode appeared, one of my friends just started calling me Disco Stu, and it took hold. And to all my friends, I've been Disco Stu for 25 years now.
So what kind of music do you listen to then?
Mostly modern alternative.
All right. Okay.
Well, that's real nerd cred right there too. If you get the the moniker from The Simpsons, we'll take it.
I was gonna send you my old Whispers tapes.
You can hold on to that.
I saw that great sketch by Bill Morrison of Disco Stu in your cap. I thought that was nice.
Oh, when I told him that was my nickname, he's like, "I got to do a sketch for you."
And he did a good one.
He really did. That was probably from San Diego back in the 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Well, when you sent me your list of art, you sent me just links to your calf gallery. I'm looking at them, and I think every single piece of art was added in 2004. So it's like those are still your favorites 17 years later.
Oh yeah.
That's great. And you still have them.
Those weren't acquired in 2004. I mean, I had them all before calf became a thing, but the minute I joined, I added everything that I had on there.
So I was thinking like 2003, 2004 was like a windfall year for you, like you won the lottery or something, and that was when you you struck out on your 2004 pilgrimage for comic art.
No, there was no calf before then, so I probably got my first piece of art back in, I'm gonna say 83, 84.
Oh man!
Oh wow, long time.
When I started out, I was just a sketch guy. I mean, I worked for a guy that sold at conventions, and so I would go with him to conventions, and I would get sketches from the artists. And I think I was in line to get one from Scott Hampton one time, and I went up to get it from him, and time had run out. And he's like, "Well, I have all this original art if you'd like to buy a page." And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" And he said, "It's the stuff that make the comic books out of." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll buy that then." So I bought a page. I think it was from Epic Illustrated. And then after that, the bug got me.
Wow.
Well, that's a great place to start.
It bites hard. The bug.
And I'm pretty sure back then pages were probably like $10 or $15.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then the
What
biggest
kind
thing
was
was
that?
I made it to the convention in Detroit. I think it was in '88 that was the first public display of all of Kirby's returned art.
Oh yeah.
And
Wow.
I would talk with both Mike Thibodeau and Greg Theakston at that show, and because they still hadn't gone through all of the art yet, and I probably ended up getting one page each from all of my favorite books. I think I got one from the Avengers, one from the FF, and one from the X-Men. But it all had to be done by phone, long distance calls to Mike out in California. I would imagine the long distance bills probably ran more than the art did.
It's exactly what I was going to say. They had to. They definitely.
Oh, it had to have back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when my parents were seeing these long distance calls to California, and then you tell them what they were for. They're like, "You're buying what?"
Yeah.
Well, I remember deals taking really long because people would send you in the mail like Xeroxes of
and
like
you
the art.
like buying stuff through the buyer's guide.
Yeah, and like you'd wait, and you'd be like, okay, so like a week later you get the envelope, and then you'd like look at the art and you'd decide whether or not you like it or not, and then you'd get back to them. So like, yeah, deals would take like weeks.
Well, trying to buy the Kirby stuff, I'm looking through the comics trying to describe the pages to Mike Thibodeau, and I'm like, in panel 1, Thor's hitting the hammer on the ground, and he's like, well, let me go see if I have that one.
I've only got like 600 pages to go through to find the top
right,
panel.
and it probably took a month to get the deals done.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was back then, like more often than not, things didn't disappear. You really had the time to kind of kick the tires a bit and look around.
Well, the funnier Kirby story was I went down to a convention in North Carolina because back then Jack rarely ever did shows on the East Coast. And so when I saw that he was going to be in one in North Carolina, I went down there and I asked him, I said, do you do any sketches? And he's like, well, you got to talk to the boss, which meant talking to Roz.
Mm-hmm.
And Roz said, basically, yeah, you tell me what you want and how much you want to spend. And then Jack will do you a drawing, for that kind of money. Well, I mean, I was a poor college kid, so I said like $25 and they were like, fine. So I gave them $25. And I remember when I got home, and I was telling the story to my dad. He's like, well, that's money you'll never see again. He's like, you literally just gave an artist money and your address, and you actually expect that you're going to see something. He's like, I thought I taught you better than that. And about 6 weeks later, the Silver Surfer sketch showed up with an apology for how long it took.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's that Silver Surfer piece that you have in your calf gallery?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's a great one.
Look at that.
You got robbed $25 for that thing.
I got a letter from Roz saying, I'm sorry it's taken so long to get to you. Jack's gotten really behind in his regular work. He's going to try and catch up soon. And then 2 weeks later, it shows up with another letter saying Jack felt so bad that it took this long that he did a nicer drawing for you than you paid for. I'm like, and if you tell somebody 6 weeks now, they're like, oh my God, you got so lucky to get something in 6 weeks.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
what size what size is that? Is that a 9x12 or 8x10?
I think it's 9x12.
That's beautiful. The background is beautiful.
It is beautiful. And like Jack did it for the right, he put in the extra work for the right guy because you still have it all these years later. So
I tried to get Buscema to ink it once and he said he wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, did your father apologize to you?
I'm gonna guess that he didn't. He wasn't that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And sadly, he didn't live long enough to see that how comic art has taken off, and that I think I did pretty well for $25.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, that is sitting right over the desk that I'm staring at right now, and it has been with me now for, my God, what is it, 36 years?
That was what year now?
That was 1985.
85 that year. Wow.
Yeah,
So
I mean, even
like,
back then.
That's post, like after he had the stroke and everything, and look at how great that drawing is still.
And even back then, I mean, that even as cheap as art was, I mean, that's a lot for $25.
Oh, it is, and he even said, Roz even said this is more than you paid for.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, beautiful piece.
Well, you picked the right character too.
Yeah, he was my favorite character.
Yeah.
And you get to look at it every day.
I'm staring at it right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't have any.
How much are you going to sell that thing for, Stu?
I couldn't even know because I can't picture parting with it.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't picture ever not.
If you kept it this long, I think it's like obnoxious for anybody to even ask you that question.
Yeah, I mean, I've had, every now and then I get somebody, sends me a message through CAF going, would you consider selling this? And it's just no.
Yeah. No, you should never sell that. That's just
no. It means too much to me.
Sure,
it's irreplaceable.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I've got somewhere between 250 and 300 sketches, and I've never sold one because to me those are all more personal than the art is.
Right.
Because those were done for me, as opposed to the art.
Do you have them in portfolios? Do you look at them often? Like how do you interact with them?
Surprisingly, I do flip through the portfolios quite often. I've got probably about of sketches. I've got maybe 20 hanging on the walls, but most of them are in the portfolios. But I do flip through them all the time.
That's great.
Yeah, I saw you had set up your CAF gallery with several sketch folders, and you only would put 18 in there, so people didn't have to page through it. You got your 18,
Right.
and then 18 and another one, and yeah, that was a good way to do it.
That is a good way to do it. If only.
Not everybody does useful things like that, but no, I thought they were well organized.
I thought that was
proud of
the most you could put in a gallery. That's why I stopped at 18.
Oh well, shoot! I thought you put some. Okay, well, I take everything back now. Oh no, you can. There's people who have like 500 artworks in a single room. So
Did it used to be 18? Because maybe it was when I started.
you got your 18. I don't know.
I think it was always
so.
18, Bill. I think.
Yeah, I think it was always 18.
Well, it shows 18 as a max when you're like browsing through the site and looking at someone's gallery, but there's paging. You know, it's like you'll be able to click to the next page inside that gallery.
Did not know that.
But when you're in the admin, you can just keep adding it. I mean, there's no paging in there. If somebody's got 500 pieces in their in one gallery room, it'll just be this giant scrolling page.
Yeah, I'm never gonna make it to the end of that.
No. So yeah, I pity the people who do that. Pity the fools that do that.
Well, now that you set us up with that story, I'm anxious to see like what kind of art he gave you, Bill.
The max when you're like browsing.
Sorry, Glenn, I couldn't hear you.
No, I said now that you set us up with that great like Jack Kirby story, I'm anxious to see like what pieces you gave Bill to talk about. You know.
Yeah, tell Bill to put them up.
I'll do that. Somebody's got some weird feedback going on through there.
I was going to say, what is going on there?
I don't know. It wasn't Stu because I muted his mic for a second just to see whose it was. But I'm not sure. But we'll roll with it. That only happened that one time, so I'm not sure what that was. I can hear the pity the fool.
I just heard pity the fool.
Is that Mr. T?
I don't know. It's almost like, hey, Stu, does somebody have the YouTube window open somewhere?
You set us up with that great like Jack Kirby story.
Somebody must have a window open. Yeah.
I know. I'm just double checking that I don't have one open that I don't know about.
That's not me.
I'll do that. Somebody's got some weird feedback going on.
I was going to say, what is going on there?
This is about as crazy as I've ever heard it. I'm just going to mute people one at a time again. Well, it's not Mike because he's muted himself in one time, so I'm not sure. That's not you, Will. I can hear the pity the fool.
I just heard pity the fool.
Is that Mr. T?
It's a ghost in the machine once again.
What the heck?
Well, we had mice last week.
Glenn, you're getting blamed.
Hey, I got my laptop back here. I'm in good shape.
I think we better just keep going, and we'll just hear ourselves throughout the whole.
I don't know. It's pretty hard to hear. Somebody's got. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. I'm going to start muting mics just to see. That's not you, Will. I think. Hey, Stu. I think it is Stu. Believe it or not. Yeah, every time I mute Stu's mic, the sound goes away. Stu, you must have like a window open somewhere to YouTube or something and it's basically playing a few seconds delayed. Yeah, let me just. I'm going to unmute you again.
What about Facebook?
Or Facebook.
Bill, I've got nothing else open.
That is pretty weird. Every time I mute your mic, it goes away. Let me try it again. So it goes away the moment I mute it. I mean, I'll unmute Glenn just because he had his muted.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we're not hearing it. That's weird.
Double checked mine.
And you guys were blaming me.
Oh,
that was last week.
All right, we'll figure this out. Hey, I'm closing every single other window. I know it's not me though, because I've got everything's going through my ears. So
it sounds like it's kind of back to normal, right?
Well, but I've got.
Yeah, but Stu is muted.
Oh no!
Let's see if I unmute Stu.
I've got nothing else open.
It's like 20 seconds behind.
Playing like 2 minutes later.
Yeah, it's a good 30 seconds behind.
So it's got to be Facebook, not YouTube. We've solved that mystery.
Right. Well,
all right, I've got nothing else open.
double check mine.
You guys were
I hate to
playing
ask
me.
if Stu should leave the studio and then come back in.
Yeah, maybe
it'll work.
close them out and bring them back.
We'll show a couple pieces of art in the meantime
All
if
right.
you want. Bro.
I know it's not. Yeah, why don't you do that, Stu? Click on Leave Studio, and then you'll go back to
Where-
that main
where do I
window and then
click
come
on
back
here?
in. Right at the bottom of the screen,
Bottom
it says
center of
Leave
the X.
Studio.
Big red X.
Bottom of the
The red
screen.
X.
Leave studio.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, he's got something open somewhere.
Yeah, that's strange.
In the meantime, you can show a piece of art and we can discuss it.
What, a piece of his art?
In a moment.
That's not fair.
Or we can show
Yeah.
a piece of our art.
All right, let's take a look at your art.
Open mic night, Carlos says. It should be open mic night.
You know
Well,
what?
we had that the other night when Tony's his internet crapped out. So he was my guest for Thursday, and it didn't work out. So I put the StreamYard link out there, and I had 4 people join me, and we just BS for an hour.
Mike,
So,
I found some crazy art. I thought they're not worth much, but I thought they were unpublished pages, and I found out they're from Spectacular Spider-Man 53, Mooney Springer. Spider-Man. I mean, they're not much to them, but I just thought how funny. I thought they were unpublished, and here they're from Spectacular Spider-Man 53 with Spidey with his webbed head. I found them in a box. I mean, I'm just
All right.
saying.
Mike, you got a lot of boxes around your house. It's always
Finding
you
some
find
crazy-
or a
Well,
bin. You got a lot of
here's
bins.
something people might know. I don't know if this is published or not. Steve Lytle, 1983. Like, what is that? Doom Patrol. That's Steve Lytle from 1983. I don't even know what that is. But that's
That's the
all
new.
art.
That's the new Doom Patrol.
But this is from 1983. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
yeah.
I don't. And who's that artist? I don't even know who that artist is. Is that Maleev? I don't even know who that artist is. A Frankenstein?
the signature looks really familiar, but
Yeah, man, I know.
Signature.
I said I just found these, and I'm going like, I don't even know what the heck this stuff is. But crazy, crazy stuff. Look, here's
These are-
another
these are-
model from like the early '80s. I never,
So to the audience, Mike is doing what he usually does to a couple of us at night. He finds stuff and he goes, "What is this? Can you identify?"
I don't know what it is.
That's the new Doom
Oh, poor Stu.
And
We're-
Stu's back. Oh, and there's
I'm
I'm back.
the reverb.
I'm still hearing the echoes.
yeah.
Who's that artist? I don't even know who that artist is. Is that Maleev?
Yeah,
I don't even know who the artist is. A Frankenstein?
yeah, you're a good 30 seconds behind somehow in that audio.
That's funny.
Weird.
The only thing I
Maybe
can
if he lowers
suggest
his
to
volume.
What can I do to fix this?
here, I'm muting your mic so we can want to hear
Maybe
that. So the
lower
only
the
thing I
volume. I don't know.
Well, what I was going to suggest was turn your volume down on your computer to the lowest you feel you can comfortably hear us, because quite possibly somehow but it can't be you hearing it through StreamYard, because we would be hearing this we're hearing it in a delay. So you've got to have something else open somewhere, or we would just be hearing an echo like right after we talk. So I'm not really sure. Are you sure you don't have like some other tab open, another tab browser open, and you've got like Facebook open
Hey,
somewhere?
that's Betty Page.
Steve Lytle. Another Steve Lytle. Crazy.
Hey, I'm going to show off art too then.
Yeah.
Everybody show off some artwork. So
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a doozy. Hey, that was my story. You got the splash.
I'm in the middle of moving. I only have artwork.
There's a panel from it here too.
Yeah, the
How
two
about now, Bill?
Wonder Womans. That's an awesome story.
let's see. I'm not hearing anything now, and you're unmuted. So
Oh, good.
I think it's good now.
Okay.
Did you find? Okay. Was it turning down your volume, or did you find a
It might have
tab?
been- that's the only thing I tried was turning down the volume, so that might have been it.
That's strange. Wow.
All right. Well, that's good.
But we'll take it.
I mean, I'm still
We will.
working on a Commodore 64 here, so maybe that's got something to do with it.
Hey, you might as well keep it the same time frame, right?
Exactly.
When disco was more popular and Commodore 64.
Right.
Yeah, it goes well with that
I had a
1985
Commodore
Kirby.
64 too, and I didn't know how to use
So,
it.
so Bill, Glenn wanted to see some of the pages that I sent the links to you of.
Yes. Let's pull up the second artwork that you sent me.
wow.
I'm a huge George Perez fan, as you probably noticed in my calf gallery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
So it's got the reflection on the top because the the letters are all done on vellum, which lays over the top of the art. So that's why there's the big reflection up there.
Yeah.
So I feel like with this piece, like somebody just paid her an amazing compliment.
Yes.
Yeah,
She looks
That's
a little
good-
angry.
Wow.
That's great.
And just think, this is actually like the second volume of the new Teen Titans, and it looks like dynamite. It really does.
Yeah, George was at the top of his game right around this storyline.
I'd say so.
And that's all George, right? That's pencils.
Yeah,
and ink.
George pencils and inks.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's a keeper. Did you buy that direct from George or?
I did.
Yeah, sweet. The days, and here we've got.
I got to ask you, Stu, since you said you've never sold any of your sketches, have you sold any of your panel pages?
Oh yeah,
or-
panel. Oh, my God, the regrets I have over the pages I've sold, that could take an entire show.
Well, you know, we want to like hone in on your regrets. That's really what this show is about.
It's cathartic. Yeah, I mean, you know, back in the day when I was young and just starting out, and people would make you a stupid money offer, you'd be like, "Are you crazy? Here,
No, we've all done that.
Can I get it to you?"
It's this would quickly turn into a support group if we go down.
Yeah.
that road.
Yeah.
Can all
I
relate.
mean, I think back to the Watchmen page I sold, the V for Vendetta page that I sold, the page from that Moore and Gibbons Superman annual that I sold, the splash page that Kurt Swan and Schaffenberger did to the last Superman story. There's a lot of regrets out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's
we all
let's
have-
do the next piece so we don't hone in on the
Yeah.
regrets.
Let's go back. Yeah.
Well,
Let's go back.
Things we could be happy about.
Oh man.
This is probably my
fantastic.
favorite panel page that I own.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah,
What
I mean, this
issue
is,
is this from?
That's
I
76.
think it's 76 or 78. I can
Yeah,
never
that's
remember.
That is 76. Yeah.
Is this one of the pages you described to Thibodeau?
No, no. This one I think I got on eBay.
Oh wow. Like the early days of eBay?
Yes, the early days of eBay, and I believe the owner lived in France. And I at the time I couldn't fathom, like, how did this stuff get there?
Right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely made its way to France. Around the time you were getting into this,
Yeah.
pieces were making their way into France back in the 80s.
Yeah, pages like this would travel on the Concorde.
Yes.
Oh man,
No,
but
there were
yeah, this is
actually
amazing.
a couple French collectors that would fly in to see Jack and would, you know, pick things up from when he got the art returned, which was a smart move.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it was very smart.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's Kirby and Sinnott again at the top of their game right there.
Oh yeah.
And the great thing was like Jack was an infantry soldier in France, so he spoke a little French, and it was like easy to make a deal.
That's funny.
I never knew that he spoke French.
Well, I'm assuming if he was like, you know, he must have learned something since he like, I mean, most of his military career was fighting in France.
Yeah, but usually the words you learn then don't have to do with comic art.
Right. It's like watch out for that 88 artillery.
Or where are the cute French women?
Right. Well, for that you need to know a little bit of French. But I don't think his wife would have approved.
No, I'm sure not. But what happens in France?
I don't know. I feel like Jack is Jack's kind of salt of the earth. I don't think he would have gone that route.
No, he was totally sold to the earth.
Yeah. No, I
But
know a lot of guys.
That's a phenomenal page. That panel with the I mean, they're all great panels. Like,
But yeah, that one in the lower right hand corner, just where the surfer's using the shield to stop the torch.
right. Well, and you know, and then a close up on Torch, and he's trying
the
harder.
third panel. First
Yeah.
and third panels to me just really, really stem. And they're all really strong.
Yeah, I mean, you can just feel the heat coming off of that panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I
it's not
and I
quite-
really feel like Ben has never run faster in his life. I mean, look at this.
I've never seen Ben's legs spread
He's
like
the
that.
Flash.
Yeah, it's like a Sasquatch or something. I mean,
It's
Wow.
a phenomenal page.
it is.
And an eBay pickup, no less. I mean, you will
Yeah, I
never
mean, back
see a
then,
page
you
like
could
that on
find things like
eBay.
Oh, that was eBay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
What
was
did you,
eBay.
do you
I
remember what
didn't
you
know
paid
that.
for that
Wow.
page, Stu?
I think it was somewhere around 1,000 or 1,200,
Wow.
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 and that would have been probably in the early 2000s.
I was saying that's like 1940 when eBay first started back, you know, that, you know, I don't know, 1945.
But back then, I mean, you could find stuff like that on eBay.
No, you're
Yeah.
right. You could. No, when it first started, that's right.
Mhm.
And you could get the seller's contact info,
Yes,
email
just
them
find out what
directly.
else they had.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you knew who you were bidding against on stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
those were
exactly.
days.
They would
And
tell you who
money
the
out there.
underbidders were.
There's a well-known dealer that came in second place on that one.
Oh yeah.
I will always remember that.
Are they still in
And he's
business?
not in this room. I'll say that.
I was going to say, is it somebody in this room? Because it's
It is no one in this room.
Oh,
Nowadays, if you try and exchange information with someone on eBay, they're like, okay, we can take your right arm or we can take your
Yeah.
left arm.
Right.
You get to choose.
yeah, but back then everybody had like 6 accounts, so they could hide when they were actually after something, so that nobody knew it.
That's
So-
true.
Bill, I
Yeah.
only had 2.
You only had 2.
Man, you were diabolical.
Bill was so
Wow.
far ahead of the curve.
I think I only had
The
1.
rearview mirror.
I just heard about all the stories of people.
Oh,
Yeah, you heard. Right, you heard.
Hey, I'm naive, man. I don't think like that. I wish I did. I probably would have scored a few more pieces of art over the years, but sadly,
No, you know that honestly, that second account, I think I bid like 3 times.
Uh-huh.
No, just
Hey, you said it, Will. You can't try to
I did not bid on my own stuff. I did not bid it because I didn't even sell on eBay the first few years. I didn't.
Yeah, only 2 accounts.
No, I
And
just
if
didn't
you,
want.
if you were to find that page on eBay now, it would be listed as production art, and probably one of 400 that's the same page that
Right.
somebody was selling as the original production art.
No, the second account is not the shill. Let's just clear this up. It was because I didn't want people to know what I was bidding on sometimes.
Or
Right.
bidding up.
No. And back
Yeah,
then, come
and-
on. I mean, the prices weren't even.
No,
nobody was-
they weren't.
I like Sean's comment because I remember seeing stuff like that where early eBay days where you could post all the questions that people would get, and people would intentionally ask questions and state things like it was a fake to discourage other potential bidders or buyers on stuff. That happened. I saw that a lot. Yeah, but you know,
Well, it was really the Wild
It was the
West.
Wild- it was the
You
Wild
didn't know
West.
what you were bidding on. You didn't know if it was the authentic. Like after you paid for it, you didn't know if it would what was going to show up in the mail. It could have been like a copy of the comic book.
Right.
right. No,
Well,
I get it.
I always tell people a story. I technically don't own this, but the piece right behind me, it's the semi-published cover to Hulk 102. I got it from a guy, a record store in California. He listed it as Hulk print. $5 he had it listed as. And I saw whiteout on it, and I go, I bet you that's art. And I ended up winning it, and it was art.
And it was
And
more than one
record
piece, right?
stores-
Wasn't there more than one piece? More than one cover?
What's that?
Wasn't there more than one cover for that?
No, just one cover.
Was
But
it
there is more
$5,
than one
Mike?
cover, right? You're talking about
No,
the one.
it ended at 5,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I was very happy to do it because I just took a chance. I said he listed it as Hulk print, and it's the
I remember
Hulk head is
selling that
different,
one,
but
too, because I
the
put the
banner
whiteout on it.
transforming is the same as the cover.
But
I thought you got it in for $5, Mike, and you were like, I should probably send this guy another $5. So I'll send him 10.
no, I remember when he picked it up for fun. No, I'm saying there was more than one. There was more than one Hulk 102 cover.
Yeah, there's 3 of them from what I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, but one, I think one has been lost in the mail or something. There's definitely
Right.
two out there still.
Right. But this
Yeah,
one,
let's
all the
see more of,
banners changing.
Stu's,
I don't want to
collection
take
here.
Stu's. I could show it, but I don't want to take up Stu's time.
Yeah, no, let's move to the next piece.
Yeah. But my point is, eBay, you
Yeah,
can find gold
There
in
were
eBay
deals.
back
There
in
were
the day.
deals back then.
It's our
Yeah, there
point.
were.
But you didn't know, like you said, sometimes you just didn't.
You had to
Somebody
take
with
chances,
zero
yeah.
feedback, and you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm getting.
Right.
Another one of my all-time favorite
Giffen.
pages.
That's Giffen, huh?
Yeah, I loved. I mean, the Great Darkness Saga is one of my favorite storylines of all time, and to be able to get the page with the big dark side reveal.
Yeah, no, it's a great storyline. I mean, that's my favorite Legion storyline as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was just totally channeling Kirby while doing that one.
Yeah,
that's great.
Lots of crackle.
And I think I picked that one up from Keith probably in the early 90s, probably I think out at a San Diego show. And the fact that he still had it with him was amazing to me that it hadn't already sold.
Wow.
That's true.
If I could have only started collecting a little bit earlier.
It seems like you've bought a lot of your pieces directly from the artists themselves, huh?
I did. I used to go to San Diego almost every year, and back when the Chicago show, before it became a Wizard thing, we would go to Chicago every year. We would go to Mid-Ohio Con every year. I made it up to a few of the New York shows back in the 80s and 90s.
Wow. Now, were you going as a fan? Were you going as a fan, or were you always helping a dealer?
Yeah, I was helping a dealer when I was working for him when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was the manager of the Glenwood distributorship in Atlanta, and so I would work for him during the week, pulling books for the local stores, and then on weekends he had his own collection, and we would drive to conventions, and I would help him run the table there. But again, I wasn't into collecting art back then, and I think of all the pages that I saw, and I just passed by because I wasn't interested in art.
But the year you said your first piece of art was when you bought from Scott Hampton. What year would that have been, and what show was that?
Probably 83, 84 at I think it would have been a Creation Thanksgiving show in New York City.
Ah, okay. Wow, that is early.
Which is shocking because I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast this morning. So, but I can remember that.
Well, for us comic nerds, those are like highlights of our lives.
Do you remember what you had for breakfast the morning of the Creation Con?
No.
No. All right.
You probably
I
didn't.
very rarely remember what I had for breakfast any day. But I mean, all the 250 or 300 sketches, I can tell you exactly what convention I got them at and what year I got them at.
Wow.
Because it's that important.
Yeah.
And there's no breakfast for fans. Come on, Glenn. You know he was already in line.
Right. It was probably a Pop-Tart or something.
Well, I remember the Cleveland actually had a Creation Con for several years too, where they actually came out here. I went to those all the time from the time I was about 12 till 16. So it would have been like 80 to 84.
Oh,
so
see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, but I didn't get any art either. So I was.
Bill, were you at the show in Cleveland, the Superman anniversary show? I think it was 88 or 89, the 50th anniversary show.
That one I was actually away to college, so I missed out on that.
Yeah, I missed that one too. I was in the Army.
I think that's probably the last show
I
went
heard
to.
about it. Yeah, it was the last big thing they had in Cleveland, and that is correct. And I know they had a lot of art there. Our buddy Ethan Roberts could tell us all the art they had there. Yeah.
Oh, Kurt Swan was there. George Perez was there. I mean, there
all
was a
the
ton
Superman
of
guys were there. It was
Creation used to get some of the best guests. I mean, and they were up and down all over the country, but they're up and down the East Coast, and they do little shows in motels to, grand ballrooms at big hotels. I mean, they were a very accessible con.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they Creation did a wonderful job of getting the guests in.
They did.
Agree.
So, Stu, Christopher Daly wanted to know if you still are getting sketches these days, or have you gotten that bug out of your system?
Nope, I am still getting them. I mean, they're called commissions now, but I think the most recent one I got would have been, I think I've got a Ron Wilson piece that's showing up this week.
Oh.
And I've got 3 more that are lined up right now that are in various stages of completion.
What were your instructions to Ron Wilson?
Black Bolt with any kind of background he wanted to put in. I've got a list of characters that I still want to get a sketch of before I retire from sketch getting, and there's probably about 5 or 6 left.
Okay.
Well, most importantly, Stu, do you have anything Spider-Man?
I do have. Are you talking sketches or pages?
Both.
I've got a.
And if it's Ramita, even better.
I've got a gorgeous Ron Friends Spider-Man sketch that he did for me probably back in 85 or 86.
Yeah, he's a local yokel for you.
Right, except I had to go to Michigan to meet him.
No kidding.
God, I know. I've got a couple of Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man pages with the first Cloak and Daggers in them.
Oh, is that Leonardo?
I've had a number of Spider-Man pages over the years, including a Ditko one from, I think it was issue 28 or 18. I know it had an 8 in it.
Yeah, it would be 28. That's
be 18. Yeah, it'd be 18.
But I don't have much in the way of Spider-Man stuff anymore.
28 is complete.
Okay, then
Your
it was
Ditko page you still own?
I don't have many that I still own.
You got them already, Mike.
Yeah, you ended up with that Ditko Spider-Man page, Mike. I think it was a trade for some Kirby stuff or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so you ended up with that page. It was a page of Flash Gordon putting on the spider costume.
And he's all baggy and it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you ended up with that page.
I remember that.
Because there's no Spider-Man page that you won't somehow find a way to get.
Right. Yeah. Back in the day. That was a while back, though. That was a while ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's got to be 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it has to be. Very funny.
But yeah, Spider-Man was never one of my favorite characters, so I never really got it. I mean, the Avengers was always my thing. Because when I was a kid growing up and you only had so much money to buy comics with, with the Avengers, you got all the heroes in one comic. So instead of having to buy Iron Man and Captain America and Thor, you could buy Avengers and get all of them.
I'm with you.
But Spider-Man's an Avenger now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped reading comics probably 25 years ago, so if Spider-Man's an Avenger, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm with you. Avengers was my favorite team.
Of trying to get one representative page from each 10-issue run of the Avengers. And I think I'm down to just needing one set of 10 that I need a page from.
And what is that from?
I haven't found a good one from issues 60 to 69 yet.
Oh, that's a good era. That's the Barry Smith run, the early Sal run. Yeah. And there's a Neil Adams in there, I think, even.
I'll find one of these days.
Yeah. That's a good era.
Yeah, but I have one from every other 10-issue run between 1 and 200.
Wow.
That's an interesting way to collect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just shows the way the art changed over each, say 10 months or 12 months.
Right.
So you went from the Kirbys to the Hex to the John Buscema to the Sal Buscema.
Right.
Tuska
was in. I've got a Tuska in there.
You got some good bucklers.
I don't have a buckler.
I just picked up 2 real nice buckler pages. So
I've got some.
Mike, stop trying to sell them art.
It's not dueling dealers.
Wait a minute. Is this Wednesday?
Huh?
Is this Wednesday or Tuesday? I'm confused.
Right. There's no selling here tonight, Mike.
No. I just said they're for you if you're interested. That's all.
And then, of course, then you get into the Perez's and the Byrnes later on.
Oh, do you have some Perez and Byrne pages?
I do. Yeah.
Bill. I will. No.
I'm not trying to sell or buy, Mike.
You just can't sell.
Yeah,
what issue? Just curious, what issue?
Everything from 140 up is all either Perez or Byrne.
Yeah.
Right.
What issues? Do you remember?
The 140s, I've got one from when they went back into the Western days.
That would be Perez. Yeah.
Right. And then in the 150s, I think I've got one from 151 where they announced the new team. I have the final page.
That's probably Perez Marcos.
Yeah, in the picture that Bill posted of me, that's one of the pages I'm holding in my hand. The 160s isn't probably the best representative. I think Sal did issue 169, so I've got a page from that because it's most affordable. The 170s, I've got one from where the Scarlet Witch is destroying Ultron.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the page on the right there is that page from issue 151.
Oh yeah.
Sadly, you can't.
Hold up higher. You got the whole group there. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably like page 2 or 3 of the book. Yeah.
No, that's the last page.
No, it says
the last. Okay,
27.
yeah. I'm just thinking about how the splash starts out with the TV screen.
And then the 180s, I think I have a Byrne page, and the 190s, I've got a Perez page from the Taskmaster. issue.
Oh, great issue. Great storyline.
So
Good
one of
stuff.
these days I'll get a better one from the 160s and then one from the 60s.
Yeah, I just saw a page from the 60s. I was looking at a trade. I think it was like 69 or something.
I had one once. It was a full-page splash of Ultron, but I decided to part with it because it didn't have any of the Avengers on it. It was just Ultron. And that
It's funny. Back in the day, you'd get a splash like that as a close-up face shot or just the villain, and we'd go, yeah, I want a better example. Nowadays, it's like,
right,
you know, feeding frenzy.
Yeah, I mean, this was a full head-to-toe Ultron, but it had none of the Avengers on it, and that kind of defeated the purpose.
True.
So the art's not going anywhere. I mean, there's pages out there. I will find one eventually.
That's a good attitude. Because it's true.
Yeah. I mean, eventually somebody that has one, eventually everybody parts with something.
That's true.
The only downside to that is, you know, does it keep climbing? That's the only downside.
Well, it's never going to stop climbing.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it is.
Because they're not making it, they can't make any more, you know, Silver Age and Bronze Age art. All there is what there is. So it's not like there's going to be a fresh bunch coming to market.
Right, but you know what they're saying is that that stuff becomes obsolete, and the new generation kind of like, you know, goes for the 90s and then the 2000s, and so, you know, maybe the demand isn't there, and so it doesn't keep going up. It all depends.
I mean, I know it's a stupid comparison, but you don't see the price of Monet's going down either, and none of us were around when he was painting those.
Well, some of us were.
Well, you were. Well, I know you were. You and he hung out at Studio 54.
He was a very good dancer.
Or somebody that looked like Monet.
Yeah, could be. It could have been a lookalike.
Yeah, very
All
funny.
right,
But
I like that comment from Carlos. I'm the unsung Avenger. I'll take it.
Will is the unsung Avenger. There we go. I've got it on screen for everybody to see for posterity. There we have it.
So,
Assemble.
Stuart, I look at your hat. I just have to ask, do you have any Freddy Krueger art?
I do not, but I get that all of the time.
I'm saying you could be a good stand-in with that hat.
I get people mention Robert Englund and some guy named Tom Green.
Oh, yeah. Tom Green? Bill, my sister used to say you look like him.
Yeah, well, your sister drinks a lot.
Yeah, well, cheers to that.
Oh, God.
That was
All right,
true.
well,
I wasn't going to say anything. Yeah, let's look at some more artwork here.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
great
Okay,
piece.
that's kind of the centerpiece of the collection.
That is a great piece.
That's
Wow.
fabulous.
Look at that.
Yeah, this one has a lot of special meaning to me. Because back in 2005, it was almost like a perfect storm of Tim Townsend decided that he wanted to buy a Byrne X-Men cover.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I remember this. Yeah.
So on the old Karmic Art L boards, he announced that he was putting up for sale this, I think, a Byrne Power Man and Iron Fist splash, and there was a third piece. And he was like, first people to say they want it. And it was right at the exact same time that my mother had passed away, and I was left a small inheritance. And so I bought this piece with the money that I got from her, so I have this to always remember her by.
Sure.
Wow.
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. What refresh my memory on this. What exactly is it from?
This was the cover to one of those old Marvel indexes.
That's okay. I know it looked familiar, but I couldn't place it. Yeah.
And I think I counted it's one of only 13 or 14 Miller Electra covers. But I guess she wasn't on the cover very often, so there's only like 12 or 13 things that she's on the cover of, even if you count like Amazing Heroes and Comics Journals.
And what's the size of that? I'm curious.
It's the size of a double-page spread, comic spread.
It is. Wow. Okay, it's like a double
it's a full double-page spread because it was a wraparound cover. And of course, I believe it's the only time Miller ever drew the Human Fly. So,
he is on there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a plethora of Marvel 70s right there with the Human Fly, and that's Dazzler in the center.
That is Dazzler and Black Goliath.
Black Goliath and
Black Panther.
Panther. I mean, it's, you know, we just needed
And
Master
Black
of
Widow
Kung
with that
Fu and it
horrible
would be
haircut.
complete.
Right.
Yeah, this is like the centerpiece of everything.
No, it's a great piece.
It's a great centerpiece.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, that's another piece that I'll never part with, only because it has the memories of my mom with it.
Yeah,
Right,
no, I mean,
right.
makes sense.
That's a doozy.
Oh boy.
And I hope to. I hope. Tim
I'd love to
still-
see that one in
Tim still
person.
Has that X-Men cover?
I
That's the
think
other
he-
piece he had sold.
I think he does. I think it's still in his calf gallery, which he doesn't frequent as often as he used to, but maybe not. I could be wrong.
Are you keeping tabs of people when they frequent the their calf gallery, Bill?
Well, I always check for updates.
A little
you know?
nervous now.
I check for updates. Yeah, like because it lets me know they're coming back. I don't look at like their last
Big brother
login
Bill is
times.
watching.
I was gonna say, Bill, if every time I flip open my laptop, you're somewhere in the vicinity.
Yeah, I'm worried about taking my laptop into the bathroom now.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, every once in a while I'll get an email from somebody and I'll look and they'll have a question and I'll be like, you haven't logged into the site in like 8 years. Are you sure you're talking about the right account? And then they'll be like, oh no, I couldn't log into that one 8 years ago. So I created a new one and it's over here. So yeah, I mean, I kind of, and I need to know. And then I'm like, can I delete this one that I thought was you, that I was looking at a calf gallery that had 3 pieces of art in it that hadn't been updated since, 2012.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, please do. I've been wanting to delete it forever. So yeah, I look at those sorts of things. But no, Tim used to be a very active person.
Oh, he
on
was.
Cap,
Yeah.
he really was.
Especially, I mean, back in the Comic Art L days, he was there every day.
Oh yeah. Oh no, he was great. I mean, and he just
He's more active on Facebook than
Yeah.
yeah.
completely
And it
agree.
was probably a good 10, 12 years after I bought the piece that I ever got to meet Tim in person.
Oh.
So it was nice getting to meet somebody that I bought something from.
No, he's a great guy.
Yep.
He's a great guy. I've only hung out with him maybe once or twice, but yeah, he's fun.
But he was a real nice guy.
I agree. Let's look at some more artwork here.
Yeah, another of my favorites is John Buscema. I mean, as an Avengers guy, how can you not love Buscema?
Right.
So I've got that in a frame right next to a page from the original series as well.
Wow.
And again, those were the kinds of things you could find on eBay back in the day.
So
Yep.
true. So
That's
true.
another eBay purchase.
That was another eBay purchase.
Wow.
Is that slightly different than standard size art? Am I thinking of this correctly?
No,
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 it is
no,
standard
no,
size.
I guess regular
it's
size.
regular 11 by 17.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was like wider or something.
But I think that was from the graphic novel where every page in the book was a splash page.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, every
Yeah.
page is a last page. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so to get a Buscema Mephisto that's full size like that was just amazing.
That is
No,
correct.
it's a pretty impressive splash. Really is.
Yeah, Silver Surfer has seen better days.
Yeah.
And that was signed by Stan and in the gutter. No,
I was saying he signed it in the right spot. Yep.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it was signed when I already got it. I don't think that was one of the things I've had Stan sign for me.
I think
Well,
I think the challenge in the future is going to be finding art that wasn't signed by Stan. That might be actually rare.
Whether he had anything to do with it or not.
That is true. Well, you'd like to think at least the art was
DC
probably.
pages signed by Stan.
Well, if he signed it in the, over somebody's face or, inside the costume somewhere, then we know that's probably authentic, right?
And near the end of his career,
That's it.
usually.
When he would sign anything.
Oh, let's look at this. What's that?
Hey, the
Star
last
101.
issue.
Yeah.
And I have the following page from that one as well that I got from a certain Mr. Mike Berkey at one time.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, the Hulk ones. Yeah, those are great issues. The Marie Severins, yeah.
Yeah. I think this one I bought on eBay, but I think I saw you put up the next page and one time on your site, and I'm like, well, I got to have that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I said I don't recognize this one. I don't think I ever
No,
owned
this
that.
one I think I got on eBay, but the other one I bought from you.
Nice. Did you show that for tonight as well or no?
I didn't. I figured if I only had so many, I
Yeah,
wasn't
of course.
going to put the 2 up. But I love the bottom panel on that page.
Yeah, it's great.
And then the next page has the Hulk just smashing the Rainbow Bridge and knocking Heimdall off the bridge.
Yeah. Oh, the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, actually, all 4 panels in that page are wonderful. I mean, Marie was such a great artist.
Yeah, she doesn't get her just due a lot of times because she never really settled on one book other than maybe the TTA Hulks, you know,
right
back then, and
Well,
not Brand X.
She did the Submariner for a while too. She was on the
but I mean,
Submariner.
never a lengthy run on anything in particular.
I don't know. I think she's like some of her covers have like been going for like pretty serious money at auction.
Sure.
She's getting her due these days.
But are those going because it's her or because they're a cover?
Right.
Well, probably both.
But I'm saying she never you wouldn't think of Marie Severin as the so-and-so, a character associated with her solely. That's all.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the Hulk is not the only character you would associate with her.
I mean, she definitely did a Submariner run that I think of her for Submariner.
I think of her more of not Brand X.
I was going to say not Brand X, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's that.
But I loved her not Brand X. It was awesome.
Mike, your doozies. Look at this. Stoozy's got some doozies. It's really catching wind here.
Are we really getting some doozies in the comment sections?
That's right up there on the screen.
Doozies on the
Stoozy is
screen.
one I have not heard before, and I've heard a lot.
Oh yeah.
Stoozy's got
some doozies.
That's like a T-shirt right there, Stu. You know.
I'm going to trademark that.
Watch out, Mike might try.
And then put some claws, and then have some claws on the sides, you know, and tell people don't fall asleep.
I'm pretty sure that Mike got that doozy thing from Stan Lee.
I don't know.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
I think they splashed to Spider-Man 37. Says this one's a doozy.
Oh, does it really say that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The actual splash, huh?
Yeah.
I owned that once.
I was going to say, and I think you owned it.
That's where the doozy came from. Stan Lee created the doozy, and then Mike Patton did it.
Planted that seed in your head like 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Remember
Well,
that.
then whoever just typed that in the comments owes Mike like 10 cents.
Yeah.
Or Stan 10 cents.
If only we could collect in ways like that.
All right.
Make an NFT. We'll make an NFT for.
There you go.
A comic art.
A doozy of an NFT.
It's a doozy NFT.
Well, I should tell you when I do the memes, I'm always looking for a good Asgard Rainbow Bridge drawn image, and it's really hard to find ones that are awesome. I like that image a lot. I'd like to get
such a great image.
I'd love to get a good scan of that, and then use that because I keep finding bad images from the movies and stuff, and I'd love a better one from the comics.
I'll see if I can get you a better picture of it. It is.
Yeah, please do it. I would love to use that. Thank you.
You should get the old. Matter of fact, remember for years I had the 101 cover. Our buddy Bill Johnson has it. I think it's in his cap. That'd be a good with the Hulk.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's probably a little out of my price range these days.
I think Bill's looking for like a picture of Asgard so that he can fly around in his little Thor outfit.
That's right. Exactly.
Where's your Thor helmet, Will?
It's always nearby.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. All right, let's look at some more.
Like the hammer. It's got. If Bill doesn't touch it every 60 seconds, he's.
That's right.
Oh, Secret Wars.
Secret Wars.
This
wow.
is another page. I hunted this page down for years because there was always rumors that some of the pages in the final issue were done by Mignola and Art Adams.
I was gonna say I didn't even know Art Adams worked on issue 12.
When they got to the last issue, it was so behind schedule they were handing out pages to anybody that was in the office.
Wow.
And Mignola and Adams were both up at Marvel trying to get work. And they just handed them these pages. And as Art told me, he said, yeah, the two of us just sat in that hotel room for like 3 straight days and did the 3 pages that they gave us. Because we thought if we get these done, they'll give us more work.
That is a great story.
That's interesting.
So it was still penciled by Zeck. Some of it was inked by Beatty, but most of it was inked by Adams with a little bit of Mignola.
Wow.
Wow.
And like I said, there was always rumors that it's not listed in the book, but you just knew that the art style was different on some of the pages.
Definitely.
And so I said, I hunted this thing down for a couple of 3 years.
I said they made so many corrections in that book. I can't tell you how many pages I owned where they'd have panels moved here and there, then a stat covering art that moved here, blown up, shrunk, and they made so many changes in that book.
But like I said, back in the day, hunting down pages wasn't nearly as easy as it is now. I mean, this was in the pre-calf days, and somebody said they knew somebody who they thought had one of the pages.
Stu, you just encapsulated that perfectly. I've tried to convey that to people when people say, "Oh, you're lucky to be there so early."
No, it was a lot
harder hunting things down back then.
Yeah, because everybody knew somebody or heard somebody.
Yep.
But then you would be like, "Well, do you have their contact info?" Oh no, I don't know how to get a hold of that person.
And you couldn't Google them either.
No.
No. Well, and mostly like the people that had the information weren't exactly going to give it out because that's where they were getting art. So it's not like
right. And then the minute they knew you were looking for something, that made them want it too.
Right.
The dark ages of comic.
No, the best place was like the CBG because you figured like those
CBG
people,
was the Bible. I
those
was telling people back in the day.
Were advertising. They probably had artwork and.
Every Friday at 1 p.m., I had to scrub my hands because I had newsprint on it because I used to get the CBG overnighted. Or maybe it was Thursday I got it, but whenever it was.
There were people that paid to have like the classifieds faxed to them the day before it mailed out. There was all kinds of scams to get the ads before everybody else.
Oh, man, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That's the first time I've heard of that one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew back in the day, Tom Horvitz would always get it overnighted. He would be like the first guy in the hobby to get the CBG.
He was the first one that started doing that, but then when he told me about it, I started doing it, and maybe one or two. There were only a handful of people that did it.
Right.
And you know this stuff.
Got it overnighted.
Like I said, you didn't know there was a whole other level of people having it faxed to them.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. Yeah. That's wow.
Because you would get the thing in the mail and you would see a piece that you wanted. The guy would be like, "Oh, that went 2 days ago." Like, how could it have gone 2 days ago? I just got my CBG today. And they're like,
the trick was you had to make sure. I think it was Thursday. I used to get it the day before, so I had to make sure I was like home at noon when the mailman came with it, and so I had that hour or so to flip through it. That was the trick.
And when you would call or write one of these guys, they'd be like, "Oh, that sold 2 days ago," and you're like, "How did it sell 2 days ago? I just got my buyer's guide today."
Yeah.
Yep. That's
those were the days.
Those were the days.
Good times, though. Good times.
Happy days.
Yes.
Oh, happy days.
All right. We're gonna look at some more artwork.
Oh, there's one of those Perez pages.
That. Wow.
That's a great one.
That's from 171.
171.
Right?
Yeah. I had 2 consecutive pages from that one, and I thought, well, what do I need 2 for? So I sold one of them. Of course, I wish I had it back now.
What do you need 2 for?
Right, exactly. What do you need 2 for?
No, that's a great. I mean, that's a wow. Yeah, I've never
I was a very
seen
naive collector when I started out.
So did you get this directly from George or?
Yes. Yeah, he had both pages, so I bought those directly from him.
Wow.
And then I'm sure I was looking at something else, and I'm like, well, I bet if I sell one of these, I can get the money to buy whatever else it was I was looking at.
That's exactly, yeah.
Because I never really started out collecting with any kind of a theme.
Okay.
Everybody else seems to have a theme. I remembered stories that I read when I was a little kid, and so I always wanted to try and get pages from stories that I remembered reading. And then when everything went all kind of crazy in the 80s and comics all grew up, that's around the same time I did. I wanted to get pages from the books I enjoyed reading when I was in like late high school, early college. But there was no theme. It's like I always just wanted one Perez Titans page, one Giffen Legion page, one Simonson Thor page, just from one page from each story that storylines that I loved reading.
Sure. No, this is a great storyline. I mean,
it really
great
was.
story. The visuals. I mean, that what is that? The 5th panel with Scarlet Witch, and that last panel with Thor, draining off Ultron and
energy. Yeah.
I mean, And that's how many? 10 panel. Wow, 10 panel page.
And for how much detail he crams into each one of those panels.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And Pablo may not have been the best inker, but I mean, when he and George got together, it made magic on the Avengers.
Yeah,
They were a good team.
no, Pablo Marcos at that time was I thought was really solid inker, really solid inker.
But he just had a great chemistry with George.
He did. He did.
Wow.
And so again, that's that's the page that I have, I guess, from 171 to 180.
That's another one I'd love to see in person. Just like that.
Yeah, no, that's a great page.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Can't even see it.
That is the last page that Wally Wood drew for the EC Comics line.
Yeah, Incredible Science Fiction was their last title.
Yep, and that's the last issue, and that's the last page of the story he did in that issue.
Where the men go in they think they're in the past, but they're in the future or something like
Right.
that.
Yep, and they realized that it was actually man that destroyed civilization.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember
But
that sort of
this is one we need to see in person.
right.
I mean, just the detail work that Wally put into this one.
I said the Planet of the Apes movie in '68, I think, used this a little bit as their premise, maybe.
And then this was from an old trick that you used to be able to use with the auctions. Was when they would start the auction, when Heritage or Comic Link or whatever would start their auctions at 8 o'clock at night. By the time they would get to the artists who were in the WXYZ range,
people were
it
going.
was already 1 o'clock in the morning, and people had either gone to bed or spent all their money.
Well, those were the days of like Sotheby's and Christie's is how that went too a lot.
Yeah, so you could get
Early
stuff
auction,
by Wood and Wrightson and Zeck for a lot less than the artists who were the ABCs when everybody was
Correct.
still wide awake and had all their money.
Correct.
So that was how I picked up my Wood, my Wrightson, and my Windsor Smith pages
That's so funny.
Yeah,
by just outlasting everybody else and staying up till 1 in the morning.
that is true. Back in the day, that is true.
It doesn't seem to work anymore.
No.
No,
Well,
they got the scheduling
You
down.
got your Buscemas on eBay, and then you got your Woods at auction.
Woods and Wrightsons and Zecks from auctions.
Man, I missed
Again,
out on a
I
lot.
figured I would never be able to own a Wally Daredevil page, or probably even one of the pages that he inked on Avengers, but you can still get his EC stuff relatively affordable.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, those Daredevil pages are going up.
Insane.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the EC stuff is even better work.
By him, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm happy to have one of his EC page, and the fact that it's the last page that he did for him makes it even a little more special.
Sure.
I mean, he did obviously Mad after that, but this was the last from the comics line.
Right.
It's a doozy.
Are there any left, Bill?
I got a couple more.
Look at that.
Ah.
Yeah, if you were a Cerebus fan, this is one of the pages to own.
Red Sonja.
Yeah. And even Dave Sim told me that may be the best drawing he ever did of Red Sophia.
Now I was just curious, did he have to get some approval from Marvel to be able to add her to it? I always wondered about that.
I don't think so, because I think it was considered parody.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was wondering. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Doesn't matter for
what's
fair
considered a
use
parody,
if you're changing the name and everything.
right? Yeah, I don't
So
think you have
fair.
to get permission.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they'd ever clamped down or not.
I think they did with his Wolverine parody, whatever that. I don't remember what.
Wolverine.
Yes, I believe that Marvel did do some kind of cease and desist with that character, but not with Red Sophia. I don't think it went anywhere though because it was considered parody. But I know that Marvel did do something because
Right, yeah, but I don't think Dave used Wolveroach more than 1 or 2 times, so I don't really think them, sending a cease and desist would have bothered him.
no, I don't think it bothered him at all.
Yeah,
well,
in fact, most things
I
didn't
think the
bother him
difference-
anyway.
The difference between Wolverine and Red Sonja is Red Sonja was a licensed character for Marvel, and Wolverine was their own. So
Right.
And for Red Sonja or Sophia, parodies, pair of D's fits. So.
Well,
Just saying.
He'll be here all week.
Yes, exactly.
But
Try the deal, tip your wait staff.
I did ask. I had Gerhard on for a claim sale about a month ago, and I did ask him about that.
The whole thing.
Yeah, well, in the green room before the show, I actually asked him, well, did you guys get any trouble in any trouble on that? And he said the same thing, like Dave didn't care. We were just
cared about nothing.
We were just going to do whatever we wanted to do, and Marvel tried to do something, and it just didn't go anywhere. So yeah, he was fine with continuing to use and abuse Marvel characters.
Dave did like a good parody.
Yes, he did.
Who doesn't?
Another of my favorite George ones. Just for that middle panel alone.
And that's I can't see the issue, but that's definitely an earlier issue.
It's issue 9.
9. That's issue 9.
Right? That's like 9, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they were just getting started on the book at the time.
With the toy soldiers, the puppeteer or something. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, you can just. I mean, listen, George's style. It's evolved over the years, and it it's always been something great. But you can just sort of tell this is like 1980, maybe early 81 George. And he hasn't quite fully fleshed out the Titans yet, but still looks great.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, that middle panel up close is just something to see.
Yeah.
And did you pick this one up from George too?
I did. I got a bunch of stuff from George at that show, at that Superman show in Cleveland. I actually sat at his table with him for a good bit of the weekend, and he let me flip through his portfolio because he said he wasn't doing any sketches. So he's like, if you want to buy something from me, it's going to have to be art. And I just couldn't believe how much stuff he still actually had. And
right. I mean, how fortunate.
There's another piece that I didn't send to you, but I got from his early portfolio, Accent on the First E. It's just a gorgeous pinup of the Man-Wolf.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because the first ever sketch that I got in my career was one by George and Romeo of Hawkeye and Starfire, and I showed it to George that many years later, and he's like, "Wow, I really wish you had left this as pencils." And I said, well, I didn't know any better back then. And I said, do you have any pencils with you today? And he pulled out the portfolio, and he still had something from that Accent on the First E. And I'm like, well, I'll take it just to have some just pure George pencils. And that's somewhere in my cat gallery.
Dang.
Stu, I got to blame you because now I'm going to dig out my Accent on the First E, and I gotta look through it again tonight or tomorrow.
The Man-Wolf pinup is gorgeous.
Great stuff.
Wow.
But yeah, he is such a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, George easily is like the best guest I've ever gotten to hang out with at a show, and nobody has ever said any. Everybody's had the same experience with George. He was always the most pleasant guy. Loved his fans. I got so many pictures of him with my son. Where he would just like high five him when he'd see him in Pittsburgh and
that's
run around for a picture. Yeah, he was great. I mean. Is great.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to I think it was the very first Heroes Con in, I think it was 81 or 82, when it was in like a Holiday Inn in Charlotte, and George was the guest there, and I was just amazed that artists would actually do sketches for you. I mean, this just blew my mind. And I'm like, okay, I'd like to get a sketch from him. He's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, I see you put a lot of thought into this. Like, I couldn't believe that you guys actually would do drawings. And so I picked my favorite Avenger and my favorite Titan and had him do both of them. And he was so nice about it.
And he probably didn't have a long line.
No, not back then.
Right.
Avengers 8.
Wow.
This is one of the pages that I went through weeks and months of talking to Mike Thibodeau about and describing over the phone.
Oh, how funny.
So I bought this directly from the Kirbys.
That's great. That's just a fantastic page.
Love the riveted Iron Man helmet. That's
I
like
was just saying the same thing that really sticks out. Yep.
And,
So
and the Thor
that's,
transformation scene in the top 3 panels.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
And then
that's
the
inked by,
one panel that has
that's
all
inked
of
by
it.
Ayers,
Yes.
because that's like such a great job for him.
Yeah.
He really cared about that page.
Ayers or Stone? Was it?
No, that's
No,
that's
this is
Ayers.
That's Ayers,
Ayers.
yeah. That because that book, when it was split up, if you remember, Mike, those pages were like not quite as desirable as like 6 and 7, and
Right.
because of the Ayers versus Stone inks. But yeah,
Right.
this is like an exceptional job for Ayers ink.
Yeah,
And
no,
not that
look
he's
at
not a
how
competent
much
inker.
detail he put in there. It's
Yeah.
like it's uncharacteristic for him.
Yeah, it is.
And if I had known at the time when I was at that show in Detroit, I should have called my dad on the phone and said, take out a second mortgage on the house and let's just buy every piece of art that Jack is putting up for sale here.
And your dad was like, "Are you still buying art? What the heck?"
But here's the funny thing, and a bunch of us even talked about this at that show. We said, well, the Kirby art's never going to be worth anything now, because after getting back what did he get back, like 10,000 pages? We said any person that wants a piece of Kirby art will be able to have one now. So who's going to want to buy yours?
Yeah.
We really were idiots back then. We really were idiots.
Yeah.
You said, with 10,000 pages, that 10,000 people can now all have a Kirby page.
Right. Well, it's hard to know the future.
The logic seemed sound at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember when when Ditko pages went up to $10,000, and I thought that's like as high as Spider-Man Ditko pages can go, because who can afford more than $10,000?
Yeah. And then we found out a lot of people.
yeah.
They're turns out there are a couple people out there that have more than $10,000.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I got rid of all my Spider-Man Ramita covers when they hit $5,000. I go, people will pay $1,000 for a page one day. Nobody's going to pay over $5,000 for a cover. So I got rid of all my covers in like 97, 98, right when Glenn came in the hobby.
And here you go getting pages to be valued more than covers. What the heck has happened, Mike?
What's that?
I said, here you go, making pages more valuable than covers. What the heck has happened?
How's that?
No, that was the whole thing. Is that you used to say, I'd rather have 3 pages or 5 pages in a cover, and now I'm like, the ratios don't quite work out anymore.
Yeah, I said people pay $1,000 for a page. Nobody's gonna pay over $5,000 for a cover.
$5,000 for a Ramita cover. There's now artists I've never heard of that charge more than that for a commission.
I agree.
And then take 3 years to deliver.
I agree. I still remember talking to a friend who was in art longer than me. This was 1993, and I said, if these Ramita pages, large art pages, I go, if they're ever worth $1,000 a piece, man, I have a nice retirement. Telling my buddy. That's when when I was telling him I paid $500 for pages. He goes, don't do it. You're overpaying. Don't do it. And I told him, one day we'll be laughing that I paid $500 a page for twice up Ramita pages. That's what I told him. And we still talk today. And he goes, you're right.
Well, you may be laughing, Mike, but I'm crying.
Just at the right place.
The rest of us are crying while you're laughing.
Yeah.
No, but perspective, just really quick, Mike. I mean, when I got in, Ramita pages were probably were under 300. I was paying 300 to 400, and people were like, "Oh, you're paying too much." I mean, I was in college, and I thought these seem cheap. I mean, I had to struggle to put together $400 at the time, but it felt a little cheap to me for what you were getting. I mean, they were classic Spider-Man 60 stuff.
But I was gonna.
You were doing, but I couldn't have found $400 when I was in college for anything.
Right.
I was hitting the highways, hustling comic books. What can I tell you?
But like with what Stu was saying, he's from Ron Friend's area. I'm just saying that, and it's just the way the world was. When I was buying from Mitch Ickowitz, I still have an invoice where I bought 20 large art Ramita Spider-Man pages from Mitch, and they were $40 to $70 each. And a Ron French page was $150 on the same.
Yeah, yeah. But we see that today.
Look how many page was 4 times more than a Ramita twice up page.
Wow.
Look
but
how
that
many
was the market back then.
Look how many contemporary artists, and this has been all throughout the hobby the time I've been in it, often go for the same as much as some of the most revered you know, classic comic art. I mean, that's just the way it's been. You're right. I mean, modern guys outsell vintage guys a lot of times.
No, you're
Long
not
run, maybe not so much, but you know, at the time,
Right.
No, even it feels like even more so today because any hot artist that gets, you know, some heat on them, they you know,
they're trying to get the future value right now.
yeah, they're getting like, you know, like they're getting 15 grand per cover or whatever for like, you know, the hot artists, and that feels like, you know, those should be like vintage prices. But
and to the young guy in his 30s who has that 15 grand, that page means more to him than, you know, a nice Bronze Age cover would.
absolutely,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's true.
Because he didn't grow up with that Bronze Age cover, but he knows who this new hot artist is.
Right.
Hey, look at Pokemon cards and all that stuff, you know, but, you know.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
all about what you remember growing up with.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear people are cashing out of their comic art and getting into Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's not a joke, Bill.
And NFTs. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Not a joke. Like there was like a couple of guys I know that are like, you know, saying like Pokemon is like you know, escalating
new
much faster
comic
than
art.
the comic art.
Well, it is.
it is. Hey, my kids were going through their cards the other day, seeing if they had any first series stuff. They did not. My son started collecting those like in the second or third series, so he doesn't have any of the super valuable ones. But you know, what are you gonna do? I'll stick with comic art though.
Wow, and look at the
Exactly.
comments.
It's much prettier to look at comic art on my walls than Pokemon cards.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
there's no question. Look at the if you highlight the comment that Larry made.
Oh yeah.
Which one? There's two I see.
Bullet
Third
Man.
from the top, up from the bottom. Excuse me.
The lowest one.
The lowest one. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was just
Bullet
for
Man.
Fawcett, though, I think.
Yeah,
Very cool costume, though.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
Michael
Michael.
Finn would take a Bullet Man right now.
Yes, he would.
And Bullet Man to me growing up was a foe for G.I. Joe. He had a metallic helmet and a red trunks. I mean, didn't even know about the Bullet Man from the 40s back then.
Yep, it's something.
Yeah,
Any more
sorry,
stuff to look at, Bill? We've been
we
through
got
it all.
one. We got one more. One more. Was
Just
that
one.
Token.
All right.
Yeah, it was the one that you didn't link me. You just sent me the scan of it. Here we go.
Oh, that one.
We're on Friends, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not
That
Ron
looks like-
Friends.
That looks like
Honestly, I thought that was Ron Friends.
looks like John Romita imitating Ron Friends.
Exactly.
Is that a Treasury back cover?
I think so.
It is.
Okay.
That's the back cover to the first Thor Treasury.
Okay.
Dang.
Really nice.
I
And it's
honestly
on,
thought that was Ron Friends.
vellum, right?
Yes, it is done on vellum.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
he did
very-
almost all the covers on vellum.
well, the later ones, like
All the
they're
Treasury covers, Mike?
very
Or-
slick.
Yeah,
The Treasury
Treasury.
covers, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I picked that one up from Bachara at a New York City show in like 2005, 2006.
Wow.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, again, I had never seen a Treasury cover in person before, so I was happy to even get a back cover.
Yeah.
Sure. They look just as nice as the fronts. They just don't get the exposure.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that's nicer than the front cover because it has both Blake and Thor on it.
Right.
So it's true. Billigan really can transform into Thor.
It's
About
true.
Bill, when you come back on, you should be wearing your Thor helmet.
I like what do you like, my director or something?
I'm just saying, it'd just be
You
a
think I
nice
just-
little. It'd be
I'm
a nice little
I'm
theme.
I'm like Mike's trained puppy.
It'd be a nice little theme for Stu to promote his piece.
I think we need to get you a cane, Bill. Like you
Yeah.
need to have like a Dr.
How's
Blake
this?
cane.
Well, I
Right
just
there.
noticed that somebody in the comment section apparently just claimed it. So
Oh man.
I guess I have to pack up the Romita's Thor cover now.
That's McHale. He kind of makes up his own rules sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Just
Yes, he
please
does.
don't ask him to be Scarlet Witch anymore.
Stop. Hey, Mikhail actually got an extra sale the other day from his amateur show, and it was that Frank Quitely cover. So he he added it to the total. Yeah, so that's a pretty amazing. He had a really good night on that episode. Yeah, definitely. Only he ranks number 4 in total sales. So that's in between. Yeah, so that was a very good night for him. But
I smell a sequel coming on.
I know.
Is Mike still 1, 2, and 3?
How was it? No, I mean, isn't Dino's number 1? Isn't
Dino is number 1?
Yeah, Dino's number 1. He had the $43,700 show. Mike had a 39 and a 38, and Mikhail has a 35.
I love how Bill has these stats right there in front of him.
They're taped on his computer, Stu.
It's a spreadsheet, man. I got it. I've had
the side of your computer.
I've got tabs open in it. I was running all the Comic Art Live numbers the other day, and it's in the same spreadsheet. So I just click a different tab, and I can pull all that information out.
And apparently, Mikhail has the same spreadsheet. He pulled up Dino's stats, right?
There you go. No, Dino, that was a very good show. But anyways, enough talk about dueling dealers. So Stu, man, I mean, you clearly, the cool thing, like I said, when the show started was, I just thought it was amazing that all the pieces you picked out, you've owned since the day you started your calf gallery. And I just think that, that's something that's really rare. I mean, we don't see, the churn in the hobby. A lot of people keep, many pieces, but that you expect stuff to be sold or whatnot. And I just think it's amazing that, because when I was doing the scans, I was like, boy, these scans are small because it was back when we probably had 800 pixels was the tallest we would let a scan be. So I was half tempted to ask you for new images, but I was like, they'll work. So,
well, I think like it's a testament to the way Stu buys things and selects things, because I mean, you've got a story like that with Jack Kirby. How could you ever sell that? You buy like a Frank Miller cover with Inheritance that you got from your mom. How could you ever sell that? I mean, it's just they're just too meaningful. Like
Yeah, I mean, none of these pieces were bought as investments or to sell later or to trade later. They were bought because they meant something to me, and I wouldn't know how to sell them, because no matter what I got back, it wouldn't be the same as the piece that I sold. It wouldn't have the same meaning or the same memory.
Right.
And I'm one of those people that just got content with their collection. I'm like, I have the pieces I want. I'm happy with them. And I don't see any reason.
That's a great place to be.
Yeah.
It really is.
Many people will say that, but they don't truly mean it. And I think you truly mean it.
I do. I mean, I had, like I said, pieces from books that I wanted. And once I got them, I'm like, okay, that box is checked off. And I don't need to find a better page from that issue or, get the cover to that issue. I'm happy to have one page from an issue.
No, that's
very
great.
admirable. Yes.
Yeah, it's a totally different collector's mentality than a lot of people in the hobby have.
Well, it's a great place to be.
It really is.
It certainly
Not that I don't
is.
enjoy watching all the pages everybody else ends up getting, and I wish I'd have had that one too. But I'm just happy with what I have.
Sure. Well, thank you for sharing all that stuff with us. That was really exciting, Steve.
Oh, hey, thanks for having me on. I couldn't believe you guys were even interested in having me on to begin with.
Well,
I think you have some really nice pieces.
I think not just the pieces, but
the
way you collect the stories, the attachments, I think are really fascinating. So it's a testament to you and as a person and the way you collect. It's neat stuff.
There's a lot more behind the scenes than just the disco.
There really is.
Right. There's more to life than the hustle.
Hey, Stu, the piece on your wall to the right of the Daredevil, did you show that one? What piece is that?
To the right of the Daredevil cover. Right, that is a piece from Dave Wenzel.
Oh. Was that from an overseas book?
Yeah, from an overseas book. It was from the Invaders, and he had to do like an additional page to make it fit however many pages are going to be in there.
Right. Yeah, all the splashes were new. Mm-hmm.
So it's a full-on Invader splash page by Wenzel.
Yeah, with it being crosswise, I was curious what that was. So it was overseas.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it worked in with it going sideways like that.
Yeah, they did new splash pages. Their books were crosswise, but they reprinted everything. But they did new splash pages for some reason. So that's what that was. I was just curious.
Even though it doesn't mention Dave on there, I mean, it says right on there Frank Robbins and Frank Springer.
Right. Yeah,
But
they always had the
definitely Dave
initials
Wenzel.
of the artist on the back. Very
Right.
cool.
Yeah, it has their names on the back.
Yeah. All
And
right,
then I
thanks.
think
I was
up in
just
the
curious
corner up
about
there
it
is
from far away.
I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't believe you could see what that was.
I was just gonna say the same thing. It's about that tall on my screen.
Exactly.
So,
We can't
It
always
might pick
hear,
up
but he's
right out.
got like X-ray vision though.
Yeah.
Really? Is there anything else behind me I should know about?
right. You're gonna be on a little TikTok clip later. We saw somebody walking past your doorway earlier. I'm kidding.
Like a dog sitting behind me or something?
Exactly. But so hey, Stuart, before we sign off, should I change the name of the show to and take out Stuart Neft and just put Disco Stu in there?
I think if you put Disco Stu in, more people will know who it was.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to do that as soon as the show's over. I'm going to edit the titles and get that swapped out. So I'll change the graphic for the show too, because I know I put it in there as well.
Oh, and someone wants to know who did the Doctor Strange that's up on the wall. That was a Frank Brunner submission piece to Marvel when he decided that he thought he wanted to be the Doctor Strange artist. He did this piece on spec and sent it to them. You can see it. It's up above the Invaders piece. He just did it on his own and drew a bunch of different Doctor Stranges and sent it to Marvel. And next thing you knew, he had the job.
Wow.
Wow, that's a great story.
And so then I think it was used in a con program or a fanzine or something after that.
Man, everybody's got better eyes than I do.
He couldn't believe the piece still existed.
Wow.
And where'd you get that? Don't say eBay.
No, I bought. I think I picked that up in either.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah, that did not come from eBay.
More recent then. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think we can call it a wrap. And Stu, this was great. That's the best thing about these talks. Maybe every collector really does have a kind of a different view on things. I mean, no one's the same, and just getting everybody's stories out there. I mean, yours is wholly unique, and I love talking to you today.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure talking to all of you.
Stu.
Absolutely.
Pleasure, Stu. Pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We'll see you
to
at the
your
Comic Art
staying
Universe.
power in the hobby.
All
I'm
right,
not going
everybody.
anywhere, so I will see you guys all around somewhere.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Yep.
All right.
Take
good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Have a good one.
The Dutchie.